Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's class, we'll discuss about classes and objects. So we have been talking quite often about this OOPS, right? So what is OOPS? OOPS stands for Object Oriented Programming. Now, what is object-oriented programming? So we say Java is an object-oriented programming language. So object-oriented programming language specifies that in very easy terms you can understand that we write a code and that code is modular and it has components with respect to object means we make objects to perform different functionalities. Let me dive more deep into this particular concept. So a class represents a type of thing or a concept. An object is an instance, specific example of a class. Again, so we talked about that whenever we write a Java code, right? So that Java code is written inside a class. So we had like public class student, right? And then we had string name, right? And then we had int roll number. Yes or no? We had this particular thing. So public class student, string name and int roll number. Now, this particular class is a prototype, is a concept. But when we make object, let's say we have a student and that student has a name and has a roll number. Let's say the roll number is 32 and the name is Saurav, right? Then next, let's say this is one student, and let's say there is another student whose name is Vaishnavi and the roll number is 64. Let's say there is another student and the name of that student is and the roll number. Let's say the name is Tanish and the roll number is, let's say, 20. Okay, so this is a prototype, and from this prototype we got lot of objects or lot of students having the name and the roll number, right? So all these students have the attributes same as the attribute of the class. Class had a name, class had a roll number. So student would be having a name, student would be having a roll number, right? So it is a prototype, and when we try to implement a code, we will make an object of that particular class. Now, it is an instance. Instance means that if we have a class, a prototype, we'll take out all the feature, we'll take all the features and the attribute of that particular class and present in the form of an object. Let me give you a more real life example. So you see there's a factory, right? In that factory we have a prototype. So let's say it's a biscuit making factory. So we have a factory and that factory produces biscuits. So inside the factory there will be machines, and let's say the biscuits are rectangular in shape. So whatever biscuits are being produced in that factory would be rectangular in shape. The size, the dimensions, everything would be same. The width would be same. The temperature till which that biscuit would be baked would be same. So what is factory doing? Factory is providing a prototype, but the factory is going to produce a biscuit which is going to be used. The factory is not going to be used, right, by the people, but the product that the factory is producing would all be same. It will all be the same biscuit with the same length, same breadth, same width, but and it has gone to the same baking temperature, but there will be so many biscuits which will be getting produced by this factory. So factory here becomes the class and the biscuit produced becomes the object. A better example is this. So this you see on the left hand side, this is a prototype, right? There's a ball, there are two different cats, and there's a person, right? Right? So the person the ball and these two. So if you see, this is a prototype, and this class is going to make all these things, right? Let's say this is a factory, and this factory is going to make this particular person, this particular ball, this particular dog, and this particular cat. And at the program time, we get this particular small dog, or what, let's say this is a again a dog, and here also you get a dog, right? So ultimately what we are doing is we are actually making the real objects out of this particular class. So it's not a single class. So you see, this is a class of a dog, this is a class of a ball, this is a class of a person, this is a class of a cat, and ultimately you see there are two dogs which have been made. So ultimately, which will be the class that would have made all this would be the class, right? So we have actually got two dogs from this particular class, and that dog has a particular shape, they have the same shape as the prototype of the class, but they have a particular name, they have a particular color. Understood? So this is a template class, okay, and this is the object instance which has been created at the runtime. Okay, so what is runtime? Runtime means during the execution of the code. So in the starting, we write the code, we write in the form of a class, and we specify, okay, we have to create these many objects from this class. But when is the object getting created? So when you start executing the program, when the program gets into the phase of execution, then at that point of time, these particular objects or the object instances are getting created. I hope this is very clear. Let's take one more example, the example that we saw in the Java syntax. So you see we had package school, we had student, so we had string name, roll number, we had set roll number, we had get name. So this is a class. So this is a prototype, right? This is an object factory. So we refer class to a lot of things. It's a prototype, it's also known as object factory. It's also known as prototype of object, right? So these are the names we refer to, and for object we refer to it's the instance of class. Okay, so here we have a class, and now this class will be producing an object, let's say student, and that student will be having a name, that student will be having the roll number as defined in this particular class. Also we can even call set roll number function, get name function from the object which has been created to set the roll number of that particular object to get the name of that particular object. So we have formed a particular object, and this particular object, when we call this set roll number function, it will uh, set the roll number of this particular object, and when we call the get name function, it will give us the name of this particular object, whatever name we have specified for that object. Let's say we have specified Utkarsh, so it will return us Utkarsh in this particular code. So this is what was the overall view about object and classes, and we'll go in much more deeper about it, but this was just the concept, and when we start writing the Java program, it will be very clear for us to understand that when we are creating an object, when we are creating a class. So this is all about classes and object. Stay tuned for future videos, and if you have any doubts, you can mention in that in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.